Da da da! Welcome, 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 welcome. So, I want to do a follow-up video on Acrimony because I've gotten so many messages and I've read some of the comments. And I wanted to touch on one more aspect of the movie that I think it's important that was a little bit raised and discussed in the discussion that I've had online and via email. So, Acrimony. One of the lessons I'm going to talk about here is that you are responsible for your own happiness. I think if we can get something from this movie, that's one of the big nuggets that we get, is that you are responsible for your own happiness. I tell this all the time to my students, to the women in my coaching group, because it is important to realize that before anyone else contribute to your happiness by doing things and by showing you things and all the different things, you have to start. It starts with you. You have to want to be happy and to do something about it, regardless of what other people are doing. Your happiness should not be completely dependable on what other people are doing. You should be cultivating, nourishing that, and doing everything within your power to be in the state that you want to be, and a state that's going to be beneficial for you. So cultivating and doing things for your own happiness, it's something definitely you need to take on if you haven't taken on before. If you didn't before, it's okay. You can. The good news is you can start now. But the movie is showing that, and I think one of the person in the comment section actually mentioned this, which I thought it was really, really important. Hence this video, because a lot of times I think some women are just thinking that the joy and the happiness that you seek is going to come from someone else. But no, it has to first come from you. You have to make yourself happy and keep yourself happy. That is your job. That is literally your job, and is one of the few tasks that you must deal with. That no one else will pick on that responsibility. You may be lucky and find somebody who wants to, spend part of their existence contributing to that. But for the most part, it needs to start with you. And I think the sooner you understand that, the sooner you grasp that, the sooner you take that on, and the sooner you will see your experience change. You will see some of the things that you're going through no longer matter. Some of the things that you used to attract before will just move away. When you decide to take upon and take care of making yourself happy and being unapologetic about it, being focused, almost obsessed about it. I'm not going to say that you have to be selfish and narcissistic and all of that. That's a different conversation. But it's really that you have to understand that other people will do things to make themselves happy. And that you have the same duty, you have the same right to make yourself happy, okay? And once you start doing that and you start working on that, you will see that whatever else other people are doing cannot take away from your own happiness, but can certainly add on to it when they're doing things that complement that, when they're doing things that actually please you, okay? And so in the movie Acrimony, the discussions about around this subject matter of you being able to find your own joy and happiness on a day-to-day basis, and that joy and happiness is supposed to fuel you in no matter what hard situation you may be. And this discussion was around the time when we looking into the marriage in the movie Acrimony, when she's doing two jobs, she can't hold it together. He's doing also working on his invention, and they are kind of like, their marriage is becoming kind of a routine where they become a little bit of somebody mentioned they were like roommates instead of being a couple, instead of being a married couple, tying in together and working together. Even to that, I'll say to a certain extent, because again, it is a movie. We don't see everything, every facets of it. It is a fictional film, so you do have to factor in that things don't necessarily reflect exactly like that in real life. They may still have had moments of tenderness that they are not being shown during that time, and then also that the situation around her, it's important to notice that she's responsible for her own happiness, and so is he. Okay, the reason why I'm bringing up this topic is just because in a lot of the messages I've received, women seem to, mainly women, seem to think that, you know, there was something that he should have done, he should have been this, he should have done that, as if, I guess, most of them think that the woman in the movie is perfect. She did everything that she could do, and, you know, everything else was left for him to do something else. And that's where I say, no, he is responsible for his own happiness, and so is she. And I think sometimes when we are not in the situation, when we are looking from the outside, we are quick to judge. We are quick to say, okay, she hits her rock bottom, or this and that, and project our own perception, project our own belief, or our own expectation of what the relationship or marriage should be, when it is all about these two people. Okay, if she spent those 10 years or 15 years working 2 jobs, trying to pay the bills and all of that stuff, she did that because she had motivation to do it. And motivation that you may not be in a place to understand, especially if you haven't been in a long-term relationship with somebody you loved, and somebody you were dedicated towards, and somebody you wanted to maybe spend the rest of your life with. Okay, this is not something where you just meet this person and you just like, let's go with the flow, or that you cannot imagine yourself living with this person for the rest of your life. I think it's a different dynamic. And in the movie, what's striking about this notion of that you need to seek your own happiness, and that everyone else, that's what everyone else is doing. If you didn't get the memo, everyone that's down here is seeking their own happiness. Okay, and so it will be a disservice to you to wait upon somebody else before you start seeking your own happiness. It will not be beneficial for you to wait for somebody to do something in order for you to be happy. That's a recipe of disaster. That means your happiness is basically depending on someone else. And as I've mentioned in other videos, you can't control what other people do. You can't control what other people may want. You can't control how other people are going to change. The only thing you can actually have control over is your own self. And this is why this is a potent solution, because by changing yourself, you'll change how people interact with you. You'll change your perception of the world and the situation you're in. And ultimately, you get closer to what you want. Okay? And so the paradigm and the question and the back and forth on this topic of you are responsible for your own happiness lasted in the end of the movie. That instead of seeking her own happiness, she decided to basically focus on him and become obsessed with him. Become obsessed with somebody who doesn't want to be with you anymore. And that's when I wanted to emphasize that you need to put your happiness before anything else, before being petty, before being messy, before being angry and all of the different things. When you put yourself first, you realize that is pursuing a man that doesn't want me something that's going to be beneficial for me? Answer will probably be no. It's not going to be beneficial for you. It's not going to be beneficial for anyone. And because it's a lot of the conversations were blaming the man, because saying that it was his fault, he should have done this, he should have done that, he shouldn't have let her go, he should not let her get a divorce that easily. And I think, you know, you actually missing the point. A lot of you are missing the point in the sense that when you look at, yes, the movie only showed a really short portion of him being sad or going through it, okay? But they spent a lot of time explaining her side, explaining how she was feeling, showing you things that will amount for you to be sympathetic or feel more empathy towards her, and which they didn't do for him. Okay, they probably had that one big scene where he's falling apart. But aside from that, they didn't really show what he was going through during the time of the divorce. And remember that he didn't want to get the divorce. She chose to get divorced. Okay, and divorce usually are not resolved in few weeks or a few days. It's a matter of months. And sometimes it's a matter of years. So you need to factor that in saying this person did not want to get a divorce. He probably tried to talk to her, all of the different stuff, until it was time to sign the papers and to move on. Which she was, you know, she seemed, or she felt like she was going to be relieved divorcing him. And other thing is that when I speak about attitude, it's important to select the attitude that is going to be beneficial for you. Okay? In the movie, once he received the money, he comes to see her at her work, and before he even had the time to open his mouth and say hello, she starts attacking him. Okay? And I see that a lot of you don't have any problems or don't have any issues with that because none of you mentioned that. That means if at that moment he wanted to get back with her, and he had come to tell her that he wanted to get married again and live the rest of his life, and he had all of the money and all the dreams to come true, the simple fact that she started by attacking him may have, made him change his mind and say, hey, it's a good thing that I'm not want to be back with this woman. And I think a lot of you jump over that portion of the movie, jump over that moment because it didn't fit your narrative of this man being, a low life and being all of the terms that have been used, derogatory terms that have been used to describe him. Because it's clear at that moment that he had good intention. He made it. He completed the everything that he promised. He completed it. Okay, he completed it, and you can see like how your attitude can just can impact the outcome of certain things. You being negative, yelling, and all these different things, that it's not gonna bring anything good out of it. I know it's part of sometimes people use this to say, tell it like it is. I know, like I said in my respect video, tell it with the respect that is due. Not telling you like it is, like how you're feeling. Sometimes how you're feeling is wrong. Sometimes how you're feeling is preventing you from seeing what's going on. And this is why you have to put sometimes your feeling aside. You have to wait for that feeling to move away before you open your mind, your mouth and express anything. If she have just met him, let him say what he wanted to say, just be open and listened. Okay? He may have been even more open to listen to her, and when she would have said, she wanted to get back with him at that moment. Just because he would have seen she may have changed, she's calmer, she's this and she's that. That may have changed things. I'm saying that he necessarily would have, but I think there would have been a better chance of things moving along, of them getting back together if she wasn't aggressive all the time. And I understand that some of you are going to say, well, she was going through a lot. She had a lot on her mind. She had a lot on her heart. Yes, and he did also go through a lot. They were together in that divorce. They were together in that marriage. They were together in that hard time. But you have to understand that there is a way to speak to someone, especially someone who you've been married to, someone you've been committed to spend the rest of your life with. There's just a way to speak to that person. And there's no justification that you may have. It doesn't matter how much pain. If you're going through certain things, then it's better for you to just, step aside, calm down. And when you're calm down and lucid and you understand what's going on and you don't have your feelings in the way, then you can say and decide how you want to interact and how you want to express that. It's really important to learn how to express your feelings, when to express your feelings, and especially how to speak to other people. It's really, really important. I cannot stress this enough. And this is why this movie came at the right time, right when I was speaking on respect. And for those of you who didn't see that video on respect in African culture and spirituality, I will link it somewhere so you can go and watch it. Respect is not something that you give just because you feel like it. It's not something that should be moved based on how you feel and what's going on. There is a minimum amount of respect that is due to everyone, no matter how you personally feeling. And I think the sooner you grasp that, and the sooner you can see and apply it, you will see how it is helpful. How do you expect other people to respect you when you don't even afford the same amount of respect towards them? And of course, there are going to be people who are going to say, well, you can respect somebody and they disrespect you anyway. Yes, that can happen. And that's also part of the mentality of always thinking about the worst. That will be a subject of another discussion. But the chances of you not being disrespected when you are respectful are much, much higher than if you were to be disrespectful. And I think that's just a simple math. That's simple, basic notion of understanding. If you start by greeting somebody and treating them well, there are less chances that they are going to be angry and disrespectful towards you than if you don't do that and you attack them. That's just common thinking. Anybody who feels attacked or who feels disrespect is going to may bite back and may do something that's disrespectful as well. And that's within that. So to me, that movie, of course, it's a fictional movie. And I said this movie is not perfect. That man is not perfect. So don't think that this man is going to be perfect. There is no perfect person. Okay? I think sometimes we need to be reminded of that. That no matter who we are, who we're with, that person is not perfect. And that's okay. The same way you're not perfect, and you won't want people to hold you to be perfect, then you have to give the same latitude to other people. And so I think the movie was meant in a way for you to question and challenge that aspect of you. Question and challenge what the narrative and how stories can actually influence what you're thinking and how you're thinking. You can change the stories at any moment, at any point of time. This is what I've been trying to do by discussing this movie, to show you that even though the story is told in a certain way to push you to think a certain way, you have the latitude of giving it a little bit more room, of seeing the imperfection for what it is, of taking the good that you can take from it and leaving the rest. And that's a choice that you can make. That's your choice. That's part of your superpowers, if you like. Your ability to choose how you want to perceive a situation. And your ability to choose how you want to act or react. That's completely on you. And I will encourage you, instead of wasting your life with somebody who doesn't want to be with you, to just let that go. I know it's easier said than done. But this is why sometimes you need to take a step back and let sink in and look for your joy and your happiness. Place your joy and happiness first. Okay, by doing that, you'll realize that some of the behaviors, some of the thoughts that you are entertaining are not helping you, are not beneficial for you, And so in the French comments or messages that I've got, someone said that the husband basically killed her slowly. And I said, no. The husband did not kill her slowly. She refused to take responsibility for her own joy. She refused to follow her own heart, despite what her family was saying. Okay, and she realized that. She realized how she was still in love with him, how even the time when she was doing 2 jobs, all that was all worth it because he made it. And actually, it was just a matter of time for their marriage to rise to the level that he had envisioned from the beginning. And that's the thing that hurt her the most. So, I think we can all learn from that and say, instead of you turning and becoming angry and resentful and going mad, simply place back the search for your own joy and happiness at the source. And, she had 10 additional million reasons to seek her own joy and happiness and be happy. You have to choose being happy over being bitter, over being angry, over being lashing out on people, over being a wreck. It's a choice that you need to start entertaining, that your happiness is important, that your attitude contributes to your happiness, that your choices contribute to your happiness, that the way you see and perceive things contributes to your happiness, that the thoughts that you entertain contribute to your happiness in a beneficial or in a detrimental way. But the great news and the great thing is that is within your powers. That is within your control. You can choose how you want to feel at any given day, at any given moment. Mind you, when you are going through when emotions are going through you, sure, there's not much you can do about that, but observe and let it go. Do not hold on to emotion and identify yourself and start, creating stories around this emotion, stories that are going to stay with you, that you're going to repeat over and over and over and over, and that's going to ultimately take life. Okay? So I hope you do start to choose your own happiness and be the foundation of your own happiness and let other people contribute to that. And find the joy in what you're doing. It's important that you do things that you want. Okay? When she was having 2 jobs and paying for his college and all different things, she wanted to do it. That's why she did it. To me, I did not see this as a deal breaker. I just saw a woman who was investing in her marriage, in her husband, and in her relationship. And she was doing it willingly. She was doing it because she knew it was worth it. And she was right about it. It was worth it because he did it. He made it. All that suffering, all of that hard work paid off. It was all worth it all the way. And the only thing is that at the end, she should have moved on. Given that he didn't want to be with her anymore, that he was with someone else, she should have just moved on. And I know it's hard, but when you become unapologetic about your own happiness, you realize when things have gone too far. Okay? And you decide to place your joy first. So anyways, I hope this conversation was useful. Of course, if you do still have things to say, you can leave them below, or you can keep sending me messages about that. I think we've gone around the movie for what he had to offer. And I do hope that you see the lessons that you can take from this movie and that you may start applying them and cultivate a wonderful attitude towards life in general. Stop always looking for the worst and anticipating the worst. Okay, there's no good in that. Matter of fact, the more you do that and the more you're going to see things are negative. I would like for you to, the way you've been trained to find what's wrong, to find the problem and all that stuff, that you train yourself to find the goodness as well. That you train yourself to anticipate the best, that you train yourself to be in a positive mood, to have a positive attitude towards anything that's coming towards you, toward anything that you are doing, and to seek positivity with the same motivation and the same energy that you do speaking on things that are negative, that you do seeking negativity. I would like you to shift your mindset and unapologetically and continually and persist in seeking what is good, to seek what is going to be beneficial, and to seek love, joy, and happiness all around you. Thank you for having been with me. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.